Hi, I'm Dr. Alicia Cabral, Superintendent of Schools. We're really excited today to introduce you to the Blanche Ames Elementary School that is now very close to completion. It opened for students and staff on January 3rd. We still have certain areas that you may see along this tour that are not quite ready for physical tours of the public, but we wanted and we're very eager to share with you how everything looks right now, what the children in town are seeing, what their parents can expect to experience. We're starting here in our vestibule, and I am joined by the school's principal and our project management team director, and I'll have them introduce themselves quickly, and then we'll take you around so that you can see what the Blanche Ames is currently like on the inside.
Hi, my name is Sam Cederbaum. I'm the principal here at the Blanche Ames Elementary School.
And I'm Walter Hartley with PMA Consultants, the owner's project manager for the town of Easton and the Easton Elementary School project.
We are currently standing in our secure vestibule where we welcome students in the morning and all parents and guardians and visitors to the building. As you can see, we have multiple areas for them to check in with staff in the building, keeping the safety and security of our building at all times. If they are here to volunteer in a classroom or drop something off, they will interact with our office staff and then be allowed access to the building through our secure doors.
As in all of our buildings in the district, we have a Raptor system. When parents come in, they submit or any visitor to the building submits their license. We're able to just check records, make sure that they're secure before we actually electronically let them into the building proper.
Once you enter the building, you can see our open floor plan, which has our cafeteria and abuts our main office of administration. Here, our assistant principal, myself, and our office staff are housed to help and assist students and staff throughout the day and any visitors that come to the main office.
This is the first point of contact for anyone who comes into the building. It's also connected to the nurse's office if a student ever needs to be picked up by a parent. And as Mr. Cederbaum said, it connects to the cafeteria, which we're very excited to show you this big expansive space.
So here is our large cafeteria. This building is built with 2 cafeterias. This is where we are serving all of our lunchways for our students. It is a beautiful 2-story space. Behind us, you can see the stage that does go through from the cafeteria to the gymnasium. In the event that we have a assembly or a program, we want to welcome in guests or visitors, we can actually project to both sides at the same time, which gives us a larger accommodation for an audience. I'm going to turn it over to Walter, who's going to talk a little bit about the design elements in this space.
In the cafeteria, you can see the highly durable materials that are used throughout the school. The flooring is made of terrazzo tile, very long life, very high durability, a lot of traffic. This is something that was added by the town of Easton. You can also see the tables, very durable tables, also handicap accessible, able to be spread out across the entire area. This is a 2-height area. The other cafeteria that you'll see a little bit later in the tour is a singular height area, but it is also built with a lot of natural light that gets in. There are clear stories at both areas at the roof, and just a lot of natural light in the building. And you'll see that as a design feature that's carried throughout.
Another design feature you'll see as we explore the common spaces of the building is the mindfulness and purpose that we put into making sure that this was very accessible and welcoming to the community. So as you look around, you see a lot of muted tones, a lot of wood tones, but yet it's still engaging to children. When we explore the ramp that traverses up to the 2nd floor, you will see that it's almost like a science museum installation that really pays homage to Blanche Ames and all of her accomplishments and to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math concepts. But yet, when you're in this end of the cafeteria, there are, as I said, the very muted tones. It's very calm. It looks very adult-inspired, very sophisticated looking. So we have the best of both worlds so that we can welcome our community in here, switch out the tables to adult seating, and have a very adult-friendly space, but also have it very student-friendly and universally acceptable to all of our different abled friends.
We are in our sensory garden at the new Blanche Ames Elementary School. This area was specifically designed with multi-sensory in mind. We have musical instruments. We have a flowing water here on our river rock with a pedestrian bridge and lots of outdoor learning spaces for our students to gather to do different and various activities.
This water feature is largely a symbolic water feature. It is connected to rain chains that funnel rainwater down through it, and it flows along and makes it look like a river. It's very engaging for students, has a soothing sound. There are lots of areas. The reason we call it the sensory courtyard is because there are lots of areas that engage the senses. We're hoping to encourage outdoor play, connection with nature, outdoor classroom conversations, and just an exploration of the natural surroundings we have here in Easton.
As we enter this first hallway, this is our preschool wing, and as you'll notice throughout the building, color plays a big factor in our building. With the littlest learners in town who are mostly not able to read yet, we've done a lot of color designation, symbolism, shapes, so they can really navigate and wayfind their way around the building. So you'll notice here in the preschool wing that we have yellow mosaic tiles, and each wing and hallway is designated by a different color. So preschool is yellow, and we have a tractor and farming theme. They're the Frothingham Farmers. So there are tractor prints in the floor, tractor wheels on the wall, and some tractor seating in the hallway to tie into that theme. And as we go through the rest of the building, you'll see those different themes carried out along the way.
The building is uniquely designed to serve really our youngest learners in Easton. So for children who are ages 3 to really 8 years old at the most, we've really kept the windowsills very low so they can be connected with nature as much as possible. It was a design feature that Blanche Ames used in Borderland as well. And we've also created these little nooks and crannies that Mr. Cederbaum talked about. Children like small spaces. They like to feel secure. They like to have little places for independence, but also for curiosity. So you'll see areas where there are different shaped glass. There are mirrors where they can self-identify. There are tactile, there are places for tactile activity in the hallway with pegs and different boards. And so we'll show you some of those features along the way.
We are standing in one of our preschool classrooms. All of our preschool and kindergarten classrooms have this same type of setup. You'll notice that the square footage in here is very large compared to our upstairs rooms. Our hallways are narrower, and we've moved all of the learning space into the preschool and kindergarten classrooms because that's where most of the learning at this age takes place. They're doing lots of group work, lots of circle time, so all of the learning space is built into the classroom. The students all have cubbies within the classroom that they can access and put all of their belongings in, and all of our preschool and kindergarten rooms also have their own self-contained bathroom. So students no longer have to leave the classroom to use or access the bathroom. It's built right into their learning space.
As you can see, the windows are low. As I noted, they have window seats on them for the children to sit and read or interact with their peers. There are stations that carved out, handicapped accessible and adult and child accessible sinks. The entire building is completely universally acceptable, universally designed for everyone's use.
We also have some universal accommodation features built into all of our classroom spaces. So we have amplification systems that our teachers can utilize, not just for students with hearing loss or disability, but for all students to generally access amplification throughout their day. We've also purposefully installed all of our whiteboards and marker boards at a level for which our youngest learners can access. So our preschool students can go right up to their learning surface and be able to function and access with it because we've installed it much lower than your typical whiteboard would be installed in a school setting.
Even all the signs outside of every classroom and common space, not only is everything written in Braille, but the font that's used are weighted letters. You can see if we'll show it in the video where it is actually easier for anyone who experiences dyslexia to read those weighted letters, and of course the Braille for anyone who's visually impaired.
Welcome to our preschool playground. This play space is solely devoted to our preschool learners. It has a great play surface, and as you can see, lots of different types of play equipment. The preschool students are enjoying coming out here. It is fully enclosed and fenced so that they are completely safe and contained when they come out to play with their classrooms. There's a trike track so they can ride their bikes and trikes around the exterior, and there's also lots of flexible learning space. So again, classroom teachers can come out and conduct classes, lessons, or activities right out here in this area.
Again, it follows the tractor and farm theme that we have with the Frothingham Farmers for our pre-K learners. The surface is a safe cushion surface for their use. We have shaded areas. We have sectioned off areas. Everything was designed with these small kiddos in mind.
Welcome to our second grade hallway. Just like in our preschool wing, you can notice that we are now in the purple wing. The second grade students are the Ames Explorers, so we have a space theme up here. There are astronaut footprints on the floor, and the color is purple. This is a great example of our first and second grade learning spaces. Here you'll see the hallways are a little narrower a little wider than they are downstairs because we've built extra learning space right out here into the hallway. We have flexible learning stations here where students can come out and work at a table with a small group, surrounded by a neighborhood of classrooms. I'm also going to turn it over to Walter at this point to talk about the design of our neighborhoods and our hallways.
If you take a look at the outside of the building, you see that it's extremely long. And one of our major considerations was smaller learning communities. And there were a lot of questions about why the design had jagged hallways. And Walter's going to explain that to you.
So as everyone knows, this was 3 schools that were designed to come into one. So keeping that individuality and that small classroom learning community was a big important design feature for the town of Easton and the parents and the students. So as you're looking down this hallway, you can see that you really can't see the end of the hallway, and that's the purpose of that design intent. It was to cluster these rooms together to make neighborhood communities. So you can see right here there are 4 neighborhood classrooms. As you move down the hallway, there's another 4 classrooms that are part of this hallway, but they're in their own neighborhood, and as you walk through that, so you can see that break and that intentional design feature that was implemented by the designers, but at the request of the town of Easton, and it's the community input that was received throughout the design process.
Yeah, it creates a nice, cozy atmosphere for the students so that they don't, as small learners, feel overwhelmed in a large space.
Another difference for our first and second grade students is they don't have cubbies. We've moved them up to lockers as they're a little bit older. So all first and second grade students have lockers that are outside of their classrooms so that, again, the space that is inside the room can be maximized for learning and all of their personal effects are stored out in the hallway.
They're ERs.
They're ERs. They're not lockers because they don't have locks, so they're just ERs. This is one of our second grade classrooms. Again, you'll notice the size in here, while spacious, is just slightly smaller than the preschool rooms we looked at downstairs because we built in that extra space in the hallway for learning that we showed you earlier. These rooms, again, are designed and set up for 24 students. We have small group learning centers spread out throughout the classroom, a gathering space for students on the rug, and again, an interactive whiteboard positioned at their height so that they can interact and use that throughout their day. Another great design feature here at Blanche Ames Elementary is our breakout spaces that are shared by 2 classrooms. So this classroom and the adjoining classroom has a separate breakout space that they can take students into or let students go into use for small group activities, partner reading, whatever the case may be, but it gives that one additional extra space that can be used for flexible learning.
Right. Our goal is to keep students with their peers as much as possible, not feeling like they're being taken out of the classroom and somewhere else. So this is a very convenient way for them to get specialized services and have a quick turnaround right back to the classroom. We are also often asked whether the school has air conditioning or not. I'm going to ask Walter to talk about the air displacement system and how that works here.
Absolutely. So one of the design features that was implemented by the design team upon quite a few design meetings with key stakeholders in the community was the displacement air system. So it's dehumidification. So air is brought into the system at the rooftop level. The air is super dehumidified, and then some moisture is brought back into that air. It's then heated or cooled depending on the season, and it comes out at a high volume, low velocity. And there's 2 diffusers that are in each classroom. So you see one by the door, and then you'll see one over here in the corner. So the air spreads across the room, and if it's coming out as in the warming season, it's going to attach to items that are cooler, and it'll spread the heat up. It's in the cooler season, or in the warmer season, it'll have the cool air coming across the ground, and it'll actually attach to the warmer objects in the room, bodies, desks, and it'll rise. The grills are in the ceiling that take the exhaust out of the room, and the space is controlled on a building management system. So the entire building can be seen by the facilities group that's operating the building.
Throughout the building, we have lots of spaces for our many related service providers. So we're currently standing in one of our occupational and physical therapy classrooms, but throughout the building, we have spaces for learning specialists, for EL teachers, for reading specialists, for interventionists, and they all have a space that they can work with students and provide their services. I'm going to ask Walter to talk about one of the unique design features that we've built in throughout the building into some of these unique spaces.
So for OT and PT, there's actually a room on the second floor and on the first floor. So the services can be provided at both grade levels. One of the design features that you'll see are the hooks in the ceiling. So these are structurally designed and rated for load-bearing swings and other type of mobility uses in these classrooms. These were ordered as part of our FF&E package, but they were designed through our structural engineers, so they're very secure. But these teachers, we've actually met with quite a few of them, and they've been in use since day one and making kids smile. And so it's a good thing to see.
So most places outfit these types of swings afterwards, and it comes with a lot of work and a lot of headaches. But we thoughtfully put that into our design process so that our building was already outfitted and able to have these swings from day one. And like Walter said, the staff and students love having them, and it makes a big difference in their educational programming. This is one of our calm spaces. We have several of these throughout the building. In the event that we have a student who is having a hard time regulating his or her emotions and needs a place to calm down, relax, staff members are able to utilize a space like this where they can come in and use some calming strategies and methods to allow the student to get back to baseline before they're able to reintegrate with their peers. It's a safe space. It's an excellent space for them to take a few moments to gather themselves before heading back in to be with their classmates for the rest of the day.
As you can see in an elementary school or really most children's environments, everything's very stimulating. There are a lot of primary colors, and for some students, it can be overstimulating, especially if they have any sensory issues. And so you can see that the space is intentionally clear and clean to help students regulate themselves before they matriculate back into the classroom. It's adult-sized, and we love it too, but the kids really enjoy having these little spaces to meet and greet each other and just to sit on their way down the hallway or to read a book.
Welcome to our new media center here at the Blanche Ames Elementary. As you can see, there's lots of things going on in here. This is a space where students can come for library class. We also have a professional development space in this room for teachers and staff who are coming for meetings or trainings. We have a maker space over in the other corner of the media center, again, for teachers or classes to come and utilize for science lessons or STEM activities. And we have our library collection that is currently being unpacked and reshelved as we speak. We came from 3 different buildings with over 75,000 library books in our collection, and our library resource aide has whittled that down to 25,000 books and is now in the process of reshelving those for our students to access here at Blanche Ames.
There's still plenty of literature for our kids, whether it's in the classroom, common spaces, or here in the library. A lot of those volumes were duplicates. They were in poor condition, so it gave us an opportunity to really get things back in order. This time of day is difficult to tell, but there's beautiful natural light coming in through huge windows. I'm kind of seeing a nice sunset over on the outside right now, but it is very bright and beautiful during the day. We also are showing that we're not quite ready for our visitors just yet. This is a perfect example of a space. We keep things kind of out of the way, and we're intentionally not showing a lot of that on this tour, probably for obvious reasons, but it's a good example of how we're not quite people ready for the general public to come through. We're very excited to show it to everybody, but the children are here all day long, every day, and as they're in here, they are using the library books. They are listening to stories. They are utilizing the makerspace. It doesn't really give our staff time to unpack everything. Along those lines, though, I just want to make sure what I know most people must already know is how much time and effort our entire staff has put into getting this building ready. And it's not even just the Easton Public School staff, but our DPW has pitched in. It's just been an entire town effort. But a lot of people's personal and free time over the last few months and the next couple of months is going to be used to making sure that this is in great working order. This summer, we hope to have an open house that will also have the rest of the project completed, which is the outside spaces, the fields, and the playgrounds, which really are a very big part of this project. So we want to make sure we're able to show you all of it when it's all finished.
We'd like to ask Walter to go over 2 additional features that make our media center truly special.
So the first design feature that was implemented was the Discovery Terrace. So over here on the right, you can see two double doors that lead out to a patio that overlooks the front entry of the building. This is designed to have a classroom of students out there at one time. There's full egress back into the building. It's fully handicap accessible, and it's just a great design. Excuse me, a great design feature. That was included by the architects. It does overlook a green roof feature that is on the roof as well. Very low maintenance and just a very nice thing to have up on the roof. Instead of looking at a roof while you're standing outside, you do see some vegetation very close to you.
And of course, the idea being the environmental friendly, small footprint of the building, which is in a lot of the features here at Blanche Ames.
All right, so we are standing outside of our mechanical room. You'll notice that all of the windows looking in are clear glass, purposefully done, designed and planned. This is what we call building as teacher, so our students can walk by and see all of the mechanical things that are running the school that they are currently inhabiting. On the outside of this glass, as the project progresses, there will be vinyl decals. All of the piping inside will be color coded. So again, the students know what is hot water versus cold water and what these machines are actually doing to run the school. To talk a little bit more about the specific things in that room, I'm going to let Walter describe how this building was outfitted.
Absolutely. So with all MSBA projects, there's a requirement to hit LEED certification. This building will be a LEED Silver building. We are waiting a submission for that. So once the project is complete, the submission goes over to them and the certification comes after that. What you can see in here are 3 high efficiency condensing boilers that provide the hot water to heat the school. Behind that, you can see 2 high efficiency hot water heaters that provide the hot water for the fixtures in the building that the students and staff utilize. You can also see the pumps that service the building for the fire protection. You can see different ductwork pieces that are providing air. One thing you'll notice is that this mechanical room is on the 2nd floor, so the floor is actually sealed with an epoxy, and then it does have a water alarm, water sensor alarm that goes around the entire edge of the floor. There are floor drains in there in case any water gets on the floor. It's been utilized numerous times and works well.
Welcome to the art room, one of 2 here in the building. All of our students go to different specials throughout their week. We have art, music, PE, health, and library. And so this is one of our 2 art rooms, and all of those classes have spaces designated throughout the building. This, just like our classrooms, have been set up for 24 students. Again, have interactive whiteboards, spaces for students to gather, wonderful storage for the art teachers' materials. And you'll notice there are even power connectors coming out of the ceilings. So again, if there are electrical things that the teachers need to plug in and utilize during art class, we don't have to worry about running wires that could become trip hazards across the floor for the students. We can get the electricity from the ceiling, use the apparatus, and then send it right back up into the ceiling for safety. In addition to the space in here, we also are excited that we have a kiln here at Blanche Ames Elementary School. So students will be able to work on pottery, ceramics, and glazing as part of their art curriculum moving forward.
One area that we're really proud of in this building is our universally accessible ramp. It goes from the 1st floor large cafeteria right up to the opening of the media center. This was really important to us as we think about small children utilizing the space of the media center, which is a hub in our building for literacy and congregation and engineering in the makerspace. And we wanted to make sure that everyone could access it equally. Also, when you're thinking about the smallest children who are on the 1st floor, kindergarten and pre-kindergarten, coming upstairs as a group with books downstairs as a group, even in the case of an emergency or an evacuation, these are things that we really wanted to make as safe as possible. So traversing this ramp together, whether someone is in a wheelchair, whether someone has very small little 3-year-old legs, whether they're in a group together or temporarily on crutches, everyone can utilize the space together. We don't have to separate people to use an alternate means or to go to an elevator on their own. This keeps everybody together. The design of this ramp was also very purposeful. We wanted to make sure that we had a centerpiece that really highlighted the namesake of the building, Blanche Ames. The design on the interior, as I said, is set up like an art exhibit installation. It's one of our features that isn't quite finished. So unfortunately, while we'll show you some video of the walls, you won't get the full impact until it's here. Try to create that for you. On one side of the walls is a biography of Blanche Ames's life and some of her really significant accomplishments. And it's very colorful. It's abutting the very serene, large cafeteria, again, so that you can see that there are very engaging children's spaces and adult spaces. The part that I'm particularly proud of is that we have had some students at Oliver Ames, now graduates, young ladies who are very interested in Blanche Ames, her legacy, her life, her work, but also in design and engineering. And so they worked with Perkins Eastman, our design team, and graphic artists from across the country. We met virtually during COVID, and they shared their ideas for the biography installation. And just about everything was used as they designed. They made an extremely compelling and very professional presentation to the team. I give a lot of credit to the team and thank them very much for taking these students' ideas seriously. Once they saw the quality and caliber of their work, it was very easy to do. But they didn't have to take the time to work with them, and they did. The other side of the ramp has some important features that have to do with themes in Blanche Ames' history in terms of her creativity, her leadership, her efforts for the suffragette movement, her inventions. And so some of those have manipulative parts to them, like a color wheel that represents the work that she did with a color identification system so students can blend colors. And then also her work with her husband in botany and orchids in particular. So the wood panels behind us look like slats right now. That's actually going to be a wooden relief art installation that are going to depict orchids in particular, not real orchids, but an artistic representation of orchids. Again, to really pay respect to that part of the couple's work with botany and orchids in particular. And so you'll see some of that. You will not see the installation pieces, but hopefully when you come to visit in person, everything will be in place and you'll see how engaging and attractive it is for the kids. I'd like to introduce Joan Mclaughlin, one of our many dedicated teachers who's here at 5:37 at night working, and kick it over to her to kind of talk about her experience with the new building. Mrs. Mclaughlin was actually extremely influential in our planning process. She's been with us from the very beginning in our user group meetings with the designers and the architects in trying to envision a building that would be really perfect for our youngest learners.
Thank you. We have an amazing facility at Blanche Ames. It is one of the utmost spectacular buildings that I've ever been in and have the privilege to teach in and work in. When we were looking to have new schools, we went on tours and we realized we don't even know what we don't have. The lighting, the space, the storage, it was great. So we're very happy to be in our space and we're acclimating ourselves to all the new places, and it's absolutely wonderful. So thank you for moving forward with this project.
So grateful to you and all of our colleagues for all the work they've been doing to get this school ready for our kids. And of course, the taxpayers of Easton, who are super supportive of this very enormous initiative and really benefits all of the children in town for many, many decades to come.
We are now in the gymnasium of the Blanche Ames Elementary School. This is a fabulous space considering that all of our former elementary schools didn't really have a gym. We had cafegimatoriums and spaces that were multi-purpose use, whereas now we have a solely dedicated PE gym space. The students and staff are loving it. As you can see, we have 6 basketball hoops. We have a curtain that drops down to separate the gym into 2 sections, as we often have 2 PE classes happening simultaneously. We have a wonderful depiction of our school mascot here in the middle of the floor. That is Stripes, who was designed by a former OA student, Abram Kempner, before he graduated last year. We are very thankful for his work, as Stripes is used everywhere throughout our building, our clothing line, all of those things. We can see the other half of our double-sided stage on this side of the gymnasium, as well as our traverse wall, which students can use during PE class to stretch their muscles.
As you can see, again, it's a space that is large enough for adults to use. We have regulation height, movable basketball hoops. We have a very muted color palette, except for different spots on the floors where the children can stand or work during phys ed class, but also the pads on the sides, which correspond to the 4 colors of our themes, pre-K, K, grade 1, and grade 2. Other than that, it's very muted, it's very accessible. You don't feel like you're in an overwhelming children's space, but yet it's engaging for the children, but not overstimulating. We have some exciting features that the kids love too. We have a scoreboard so that community rec or different leagues can use this as well as the children. We have a traverse wall that is not yet ready for student use, but we're getting there. Tons of storage for all of our wonderful equipment that students can use. This is a big and important part of their day, is getting our kids moving and engaged. It's also an opportunity for social interaction for kids. And of course, we have a really robust PE health and wellness curriculum and fabulous teachers to help them with it.
So a couple key design features associated with the gymnasium. Gymnasium is really designed as the front and hub of the school, along with all of the other community spaces. But there's access directly when you enter, so that you don't need to traverse into classroom areas. You can get right in. So, you know, when the school is renting, or the town's renting this out, the district's renting out the gymnasium, you'll be able to cordon off the school and allow people access directly into the gym. As Dr. Cabral and Principal Cederbaum have mentioned, 6 full-size hoops. We also did purchase, and you can see them over here in the corner, some mini hoops that do attach for lower baskets. So it brings it down to, I believe, 6.5 feet. And they just sit on the hoops attached to the bottom of the rims. So you can bring smaller students in here. All of the basketball hoops are powered, so they all go up to the ceiling. You can see one up right now. There's also a large projection screen where you can do an all-school assembly in here, have all the students on the floor, roll out the projector, and utilize that feature. The demising wall on the cafeteria side is a collapsible curtain. On the gymnasium side, it is an accordion style, so it folds out. It does secure in place. It is acoustic, so you will be able to see that. It's not fully engaged right now, but you do have a piece that goes down to give that acoustic seal on that side. There's gymnasium and PE offices along with bathrooms. And then one piece that you can't see from here, but we'll make sure you get a shot of it, is a small area for OTPT, or the school's smallest learners. In the corner, you can cordon it off with another curtain similar to the one that you can see here that demises the gym into 2 learning areas.
So this is our smaller cafeteria, again, designed purposefully for those students that might not be able to eat lunch in a larger space with more noise and more distractions. This provides a smaller area for them to come here and have their lunch on this side with a smaller population and a quieter area to have their lunch. When it's not being used as a cafeteria, its intent and purpose is to be used as a flexible learning space, again, for teachers to bring their classes down, whether it's to perform science experiments, do small group activities. You can see behind us that there is a platform. So again, for students who might want to do readers theater, if we want to put on a show for parents, this space gives that flexibility and opportunity. We also have a teaching kitchen located on the other side of the room that is directly adjacent to our outside gardening space. So students are looking forward, as it gets warmer, to go out and plant and use our garden beds, and then be able to come in and prepare food using some of the things that we're able to grow outside.
As you know, likely central office is now also located in the building. We're on the opposite side of the main office here, outside of the sensory courtyard, and we are 48 Spooner Street, while the school is 50 Spooner Street. It's a little difficult to navigate right now because our front door faces what is going to be the field, but hopefully by around May, that project will be finished or close to completion and will be a little bit more accessible to people. But if you're looking for the superintendent's office or human resources, the business office, special education, facilities director, you can find all of us on the other side of the building, outside of the sensory courtyard. Again, we're really looking forward to having the general public be able to come through the building. Hopefully this summer, we want to have a beautiful open house for children and another one for adults, so that people can see not only the engaging, interactive, student-friendly aspects of the building and the grounds and the playgrounds, but also the ideal opportunities for community use. We really want to encourage community members who may not have children in the schools at all to make use of our grounds, make use of our playgrounds after hours, make use of our common spaces. And so we look forward to sharing those with you this summer.